All right, welcome back to Yes, Your Expression of Self. I'm your host, Choying. Today I have two beautiful guests here. One is Stephanie, and my other one is Holly. I make it very simple, and I just let them introduce themselves. But before I do that, I want to bring up something that we collectively been working on for about a year, and the title of this here come about for all from all of us, Circle of Light. So since Holly's on the other side of the world, let's. I'm gonna have her speak first, and then we bring Stephanie in. Are you there, Holly?
I am. Thank you. I'm excited about having this discussion with everybody. So I'll just introduce myself. My name is Holly, and I am currently in the St. Louis, Missouri area, and I am running what is called Inner Chatter Mindfulness Art Studio, and soon to be Inner Chatter Coffee Shop. Something I'm working on manifesting right now. The I would just introduce myself as, you know, 3 years ago I started doing meditation, simply just because I had so much, what I now refer to as inner chatter. At the time, I didn't know it was, what it was. I just knew I couldn't handle it anymore and wanted to come in and do meditation. And 3 years later, I it has grown to something that I would never have expected. And I have grown exponentially to a mindset that I would have never thought that I could probably do on my own. But is very beneficial through the entire meditation process, and throughout that entire process came my um, inner chatter mindfulness art studio, and it just naturally evolved the art that I teach, which is dot mandalas, dot mandala painting on. The big thing is the bourbon barrel lids that we get from Louisville, Kentucky, which I really enjoy doing, and they come out being so amazing and beautiful. And I guide people through the entire process, which I guide them into the process of keeping well aware of their inner thoughts and their inner chatter as they're creating these. People come in and think that, they get nervous and think, well, how am I going to create one of these? And we just walk through the process very gently. And I just kind of teach them to kind of, from the back door, just kind of keep an eye on what they're thinking, and continue to build the confidence in them that they can do it step by step, which is what we all just learn and need to do in life, is we can only do one thing at a time. And that is pretty much it. I will hand the mic over to back to you, Choying, to introduce Stephanie, or Stephanie can take it from here, and then we can just expand on that later.
Thank you, Holly. I definitely have a lot of questions for you. That was a beautiful introductions. Okay, so I'm actually sitting here at Echo Studio, Stephanie's studio. She's an amazing, compassionate person full of light. I'm gonna let her introduce herself, who she is, and we can go from there. How you doing,
Oh,
Stephanie?
good. Thank you for having me, Choying. It's good to be in the same sort of airspace with you, Holly. So, my business is Echo Studio. I'm a sound practitioner, instructor, as well as meditation guide and Reiki master. And my love of sound began when I was very young, through a connection with my dad, where when we would have these really brutal lightning storms in Illinois, he would have us come down from the second story of our house and build a nest in the living room. And he would put an album on, and he'd open the big picture window, and we would just watch lightning storms coordinate to the album that he put on. And so he taught us from, and I'm getting the chills right now as I talk about this because it's just such a deeply rooted connection for me and for my dad. So he really taught us with that activity that you can really kind of harness the power of sound to change a storm within your own life. So for me in my practice, I love science. And so at Echo Studio, I kind of feel that's where science and soul unite in how we look at how sound affects the way that our body works, affects the flow of our neural pathways, and how we can use sound to transform our own storms and our own journeys. So I do individual and small group sound healing sessions, sound baths. I do 120-minute to 4-hour sound journeys, depending on what someone is looking for, as well as Reiki and meditation. And I do this at my studio as well as for events and retreats. And I'm just so honored to be sharing this space with Choying and Holly. And we've really been working our magic and putting something very special together for the Circle of Light event that's coming up very soon. So thank you for having me here.
Thank you for the beautiful, powerful introduction, Stephanie. And being here at your space, of course, I've been here a few times. Amazing energy, amazing sound work. When I look at sound work, it's not like the way I experience sound is always take me a lot more deeper inwardly to the journey, which also where people experience something I would say maybe very magical. But it's not just magical, it removes their logical minds and tap into something that's, I always say, it's their gift and the power. So that's something that's what I want to bring today in this conversation is what is Circle of Light? Why it's so important to be part of the workshop that you and Holly are going to be there teaching?
So I feel that Circle of Light connects to us individually and the light that runs kind of through our bodies, that electric sort of force that connects and unifies all of us together. And it also connects to the messages that we give ourselves, right? So if we put something out in the world, or if we say something to ourselves within our own consciousness, it always comes back around. And so for me, Circle of Light is about personal empowerment and just being there as a guide to support the participants that are attending this event, to give them opportunities to kind of connect inward with the thoughts that are empowering for them, and to help them sort of let go of any thought forms that aren't serving them any longer. And so we're going to be doing that with some shamanic drumming that Choying is going to be providing, which is very powerful. And I've been fortunate to have a few sessions with Choying, and they've always been transformative. We're going to do that with some mindful mandala painting with Holly, which really gets you to slow down and kind of delve in to a meditative process, so you can learn how art and the power of making can be a meditation as well. And then we're going to do that with a very sort of restorative sound bath, some soft breath work, and a lot of really intricate surprises that we've got kind of woven in and out for the whole experience. So that's kind of Circle of Light too, something that Choying came to me with when we very first met, and we talked about on the phone before we had eye contact, was just wanting to empower people, but also as we move through the plane of this world, keeping our soul and our heart as light as possible, so that when we do go into cessation, that we have that ability for our spirit to be just as light. And that was something, Choying, that you taught me about that has been very empowering for me. So thank you.
I appreciate it. I was trying to think what did I taught you.
That was the very first time we talked on the phone. You talked about that, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, that's what we're doing." Yeah.
What is your thought, Holly?
I agree with. I was just getting so intent of listening to Stephanie talking,
Aw.
and just imagining everything at. I was really feeling the workshop when you were talking about it, because I've experienced things with both of you guys, and obviously I've experienced my own, practice that I do. But I agree, and I think that's part of what we're all here to do. Is we're all here to help, create spaces for people to learn how to intently love themselves. And I think a lot of what happens is people kind of lose sight with who they are and who they're meant to be. And I think a lot of people lose that love for themselves. And, I'll fully admit that, over the years, I'm not going to say how old I am, but over the many, many years that I've been alive is, the past couple years is I really realized that I didn't really love myself. Um, I didn't have respect for myself. I didn't have this internal confidence, even though I was out running around and doing whatever and, blissfully unaware. I still had this internal thing that I was dealing with. And over the course of, the past couple of years is when I did most of my work and connecting with you, Steffany and Choying. It all came full circle, when we started talking to you, Steffany, about, what we went through, what you went through, what Choying went through. And it all came full circle that we're all here to create this space for people to kind of slow down and come back to themselves and learn how to process their emotions and really create a space for them to learn how to let go of all of these thoughts, and I'll use this term, limiting beliefs, just these thought processes that are preventing them from moving forward. In whatever manner you wanna use, whether it be in some sort of business aspect or some sort of family aspect, or just moving forward with letting go of everything that's happened in the past. Not from a standpoint of forgetting it, but things that they're holding on to, that's creating some type of internal conflict with themselves, and just learn how to move through that. Us creating that space for them to do all of that, which in turn creates a space for others around them to do that. Hence the whole circle of light and creating that flow of energy. So that's where I'm at. I'm excited about it. And this is my, I think, second podcast with Choying. So I'm excited to do the podcast. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. And I hope to see a lot of people there. And it's in Manitou Springs, Colorado, which is such a magical place. You can't explain it. Steffany, you've been there for X number, like 17 years or so, but it is a magical place. And there's no other better place to do this than there. So I'm excited.
I also want to say too, something else that we're particularly excited about is that the gallery where Choying will be doing shamanic drumming and some movement work, as well as the sound bath, will be taking place in the Hagenauer Gallery. And there is a powerful exhibit in that space right now by Katie Orr. And I'm getting the chills right now just saying her name, because Katie is just one of the most profoundly powerful, beautiful, just powerful in the way that she expresses her vulnerability. And when you look at this work, you see powerful vulnerability throughout this whole gallery. In my gut and in my heart, I know from my own experiences too, that healing really does begin to transform when we can be vulnerable, and the most vulnerable within ourselves, and kind of to have these inner conversations about what we want to, what do we need to let go of so that we can kind of do the next thing that we're here to do. And you can really get a lot of strong transformations by being vulnerable within ourselves, and, encouraging and empowering others to feel safe. And it's one of the things that I think Holly and Choying are so gifted at doing, is creating a space where everyone feels safe and comfortable. And so I think this is going to be a very sort of opening event for me too. And I'm really looking forward to it. Choying, do you want to talk about Circle of Light for you?
Oh, I just love listening to both of you. One of the things, before I begin to talk about Circle of Light, one of the things is I hear a lot from Steffany about self-empowering others or empowering others to self-empower themselves. And even Holly talks about the self-love and the journey, and learning and the lessons, or even letting go. I do have a question, maybe for all of us, and any of you can actually answer. For someone that comes in and looking at a space, looking at the, you can say the events, sound healing, sound bath, shamanic work, arts. We hear there's a lot. We've seen there's a lot. We have many people might have a lot of different experience. What is unique about Steffany and Holly brings in is that for me is knowing the process, knowing the journey that each one of those beautiful ladies have walked and take the experience in their own process to empower themselves and also empowering others. But when we sit in a space like Circle of Lights, it isn't about me. And the way I look at life is I break through everything I can in my own mind. From guilt, from shame, from embarrassment, to vulnerability, and every things that I have fear in the past, to things that linger in my mind, in my emotions, I'm willing to break those because I know they're not real. But being in space is what can we do for other people in the space while they have to be with themselves, to be vulnerable, to be in a space with other people they might not know and first time they met, myself, Steffany, and Holly. Holding that space of circle of life is not just somewhere positive, loving, which we all have in a deep heart of our soul. But to know that we walk through the journey, that we recognize our own, I speak for myself, I recognize my own problem. I can see and relate with other people. I can be there and not judge them for who they are. And the tool that Steffany with the sound bath and the tool that Holly walks them through the mandala process, it is to break through their limited belief, what Holly was saying. And in order to empower people, they must trust themselves to be in a space, to be vulnerable, to say, I don't know where I'm going, but I'm safe to be here. And it's not even about being safe, that it's about there is something about themselves inside that they're seeking how to come back to the light. I always say it's easy to visualize light, it's easy to speak of light, it's easy to be positive, but many of us still doesn't know the process how to face our darkness. And that's what Circle of Lights is. We hold a powerful transformational space. And that's how I view Circle of Lights. So I'll pass it back to you, Steffany.
Okay. Yeah.
Because you're right in front
That
of
was
me.
amazing.
Yeah, that is amazing. Thank you. Yeah, and I think if there are thought forms that you're wanting to let go of, or if you're holding things in your body that you need to let go of, or you have areas of the body where you're feeling the same tension over and over and over again, this will be a great opportunity to kind of work in that area. But also, if you are someone that's just wanting a day to restore, hit the reset, to relax, to connect with others in a meaningful way, this is also for you. So I think you're going to find what you're looking for with this event. And I'm just really thrilled to be a part of this. So, yeah.
So, Holly, I'm going to ask you a question for self-empowering and empowering others. Can you share a little bit of process of walking people through the mandala art? Not the art where you're going to be guiding them how to do the art, but what is the internal process that you have gone through, other people have gone through your mandala art class?
I think I mentioned it when I first started talking is that this is one of those limiting beliefs, and this is one of the mindsets that prevent people from moving forward and creating whatever they want to create. I have had people come in and afterwards literally say that, yeah, I was really nervous. Like I had no idea how I was going to do this because I see all these beautiful mandalas that other people have done, and I'm not creative. How am I going to do this? And in life, a lot of times that's what happens, is that's the inner chatter. She never said any of that out loud. She felt that. So that's the inner chatter. That's the inner voice that is doubting ourselves, that we can't accomplish big things. We can't be the best that we can be. And a lot of times it talks us out of doing these great things that we're meant to do. And so during the process, you know, I literally will have people just kind of come in, and I kind of keep it very grounded, and I give people the opportunity to, we'll sit there, we'll meditate. I'll do a little talking about what the mandala is. And I just guide them. I start them with the very first step of how to get used to the process. But the entire process literally starts with just one dot. It is as simple as anybody can imagine. But because of the process that I teach them, what happens is their inner creativity, whether they know they have it or not, it is such a simple process. So once you start with one dot, then you start with another, then you continue to move with another dot. You just move around this template. And throughout the process, I'll take pictures and show people the very beginning, and then, which is just a few dots. And then, you know, maybe half an hour later, I'll take more pictures. And what I like to do is show the progress from very beginning to very end. And throughout the process, we'll talk about, you know, the different thoughts that are happening in people's minds. I'll use another example is somebody, I'm new to this podcast thing, so I don't want to call people out.
You can call me out.
So I'm just going to say, somebody that came to one of them, one of my classes, over and over and over again, it was, oh, I could never do that. I'm not good enough. Yours looks so much better than mine. Finally, I got this person to come, and they started doing the mandala. And throughout the process, it was, oh my gosh, I just made this mistake. Looks terrible. Look at yours. Yours is beautiful. Yours is beautiful. Yours is beautiful. It looks so great, but mine's not. And it just was over and over and over again. And I had to call them out on it. I'm like, do you see what you're saying? Do you see what you're saying is, you know, your perception is your reality of what you're creating. And so when that person was looking at everybody else's and was saying, oh my God, yours is so beautiful, yours is so beautiful. But those other people were saying to the other people that theirs was terrible, but yours looks good, yours looks good. So it's all about this being aware and creating this awareness of your perception of what's happening inside of you with your thought process. But what happens is at the very end, every single mandala is different, because every single person, nobody's copying from anything. They're all creating these mandalas from within. And so I get so excited at the end of these classes when I see people with these 22-inch round bourbon barrel lids with these beautiful, every single one is different design on them. And they walk away feeling, oh my God, like, I really created this. And like they end up like really loving it. And that is an example of, over time, just allowing and trusting the process. Like Steffany said, you know, healing begins, you know, to create things when you're in that place of vulnerability, when you create that place of trusting the process and just allowing things to happen, allowing things to process. And so that's my take on what I do with the mandala process and helping to empower people. And over time, it's these layers upon layers upon layers of reprogramming your mindset, or just creating more confidence in yourself, creating more space within yourself to be more empowered, to draw more positive things to yourself, weeding out the things that don't they're just not working for you anymore. They don't really serve anything, any purpose. I look around my house and I think of all these little things around here that they're great, but they're really just taking up space and they're really not doing anything for me. And it's one of the things in organizing, when you look at something, you ask the question, is this item serving anything to me? Is this item creating any positive influence in my life? Is this item bringing anything to me? You can do the same thing with your thought process, with the things that you're doing in your life. So that's what we do with the mandala process. So thank you, Choying.
That's an incredible process sharing. Thank you. And I just cannot wait for me to be actually in class again. Now moving
Yeah.
to, of course, Stephanie, I'd like to hear your process for other people that come in. What is sound bath and how does that work for people?
I think every sound healer has a unique sound bath. They're all a little bit different and very similar to when you finish your mandala. There's as many mandalas as there are individuals, and there's many sound baths as there are individuals. They're all unique. But typically, when I do individual sessions or sound baths, I always want to start with meditation and a little bit of kind of stretching and movement to align the body, to get people into a space where they're ready to let go and rest. And we start with a little bit of gong work, a little guided meditation. And in the background, what I have going either through my Korg or through another program that I utilize is theta music. And so theta music, here comes the science part, resonates between a 4 and an 8 frequency, which our brain, the way that our neurons fire, will align with the music that we listen to. And so theta waves, what that means for our brain is that's that really great daydreamy space that we get to just stare out a window and watch life pass by without attaching to anything. Like you might see Steve pass by, but you're like, oh, there's a person. I don't know who Steve is, so I just made that up. And so that theta state is, it's that point right before you fall asleep where you're kind of just hovering there. And so most of the time during sound sessions or sound baths, people feel like they're just kind of hovering just above sleep. And often, sometimes people will drop down into that beautiful sleep state too, and we still receive frequencies at that point. So once I get you into that theta state, then I go full into the sound session. And we utilize a gong, we utilize drums, we utilize rattles, rain sticks, and Tibetan singing bowls, as well as hanging bowls and weighted tuning forks. And when you feel sound and you're consciously knowing that you're going to connect and you're going to see what these sounds actually feel like moving through your body, it's a very different experience than being in your car with the stereo on. I like to play my music pretty loud when I'm in the car, so I do feel it. And so that is kind of like a sound bath, but you're laying on the floor, you're feeling the frequencies come up through the floor, as well as just kind of moving all around you. So you really are enveloped in an ocean of sound. And you'll feel those sounds in a very tactile and nourishing way. And so it's really important when you go to a sound bath or do any work that you're very well hydrated, because those frequencies are moving the water around in your body into different patterns around your nerve endings. So it feels like a very deep massage. Having water will help kind of flush any toxins out. And then it's also important, if you're planning to attend a sound bath, to just connect in with the practitioner and let them know if you have any like health stuff that, not for them to diagnose or prescribe, but just for them to know. Like if you have a pacemaker, that's something that we would need to know. And we always ask that you connect in with your primary care physician if you have any questions before attending something like that, and just make people aware that are kind of with you and connecting with you so they can kind of guide you as well. So that being said, once you're deeply into the sound bath, then, and you're kind of in that ocean space of sound, you just kind of rest there for a good amount of time as the frequencies do the work, and you just get to breathe and be. And of course, we invoke a little bit of breath work at the meditation state at the beginning. And then when we're ready for you to float back to the surface, we will start a little bit more reintegration meditation, which helps you slowly and gently come back to the present moment, just so that you can allow your body to transition in, and you'll come back into the present moment with us through the reintegration meditation, a little bit of aromatherapy. I love the frequency of scents too. And so with aromatherapy, at the beginning of the sound bath, we're using scents that are deeply grounding and will help you mellow. And at the end of the sound bath, we'll use scents that, are a little bit more citrus, a little bit more awakening, that will gently help you come back to that space too. So that at the end of the bath and at the end of the reintegration meditation, you can kind of slowly connect back with Choying as he brings you into a bit of movement to awaken and align your body. And I think Choying will talk about that more before you do the mandala practice. Yeah.
Thank you for the beautiful process.
Thank you.
That was incredible. I mean, to hear about the science part, along with, for me, it was spirituality of the sound frequency. I know where my body always tune into whatever it's doing on its own. And one thing I speak about is the dream state. The dream state is much more powerful for me than this reality, because we constructed our informations based on perceptions, like Holly was saying, and that's not really who we are. So having a sound frequency like Steffany guiding with the meditations, it really removed those thoughts form, those informations, those labels, all those information, negative information about ourselves, the self-image. It's just gonna slowly dissipate. That's where the energy, the clearing, the healing comes in place. A lot of times, we might be in our linear minds and thoughts. If you're new to something like this, maybe nothing happened because your body and your mind's been constructed so hard, have some form of expectations. What am I doing? What is this going on? So you're thinking. One of the things is that the more you relax, the more you hydrate yourself, the more you will tune into the frequency. And like you say, when Steve shows up, you don't know who Steve is. That's the beauty of the journey, and it goes more deeper. Hopefully Steve doesn't show up.
Hopefully he does. Hopefully he signs up for the workshop. Yeah. Can I say one more thing? The other thing I wanted to say too is at the beginning, if you're new to meditation, it's okay. We're going to guide you into that process. So if you have a little bit of anxiety of like, oh, they're going to do meditation, that's not necessarily my jam, or it might be something that I haven't experienced yet. We're very good at guiding people in the process, and especially when we do the meditation, kind of diving into the sound bath, we'll be giving you techniques and tools that you can practice at home, and breath work that aligns with the process of meditation. And we walk you through how you can use breath to send different feelings out of your body, as well as how you can breathe into different spaces of your body to kind of breathe compassion into those spaces. So there's a lot of guidance and a lot of information that's going to be shared that are gifts for us as well as you, that you can take with you after the experience. And you can always contact us again about like, hey, I've been doing this, but it's not working in the way that I had hoped. Is there something else I can add to that? And we're here. Like, this is what we're here for. This is what we love doing. And so we're here to guide you, and we're going to be there all day that day to guide you through this process. So, yeah. Okay.
That's what I love, actually. I think that's what I love that you said, that we're there to guide you through the entire process, because I think that's what we all do. I That's what I do through the entire process of the mandalas. I guide them from the very beginning to the very end.
And it's,
And I
oh,
Go
sorry.
ahead.
Yeah. And it's just
No.
such a nice way. It's a different level of support, right? Um, it's not coming from a place of like knowing and not knowing. It's coming from a place of just side by side, right? Like we're working side
Mhm.
by side together.
Yeah, and trusting the process.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Silence is also guiding.
Little wind sounds.
So I'm going to share. This is actually incredible for me to be honored with, of course, doing the workshop with Holly. I've done a few workshops with her before, but with Stephanie, her and I are going to be actually doing a sound together with shamanic drumming and singing. And I'm going to share. I try not to give too much of it, but I definitely share exactly how over the years of experience of shamanic drumming, just like you say, every sound practitioner, every sound healers have a different ways of guiding and moving. And when you spoke of Tibetan singing bowl, one of the things is the shamanic journeys that I have guided and also have been continue to work in myself. I didn't know this in the past, and it starts showing up. And what shows up is when you in the space of the shamanic drumming and the singing, I would tell you it's not me that's doing the work. Whatever it is facilitating through me to also facilitate through you to the sound, energetic voice. Number one, voice is our power. We should always speak our voice, no matter what, speak our truth. So when we heal through the emotions like shame, guilt, whatever negative emotions, we need to utilize our voice, speak something outwardly without being afraid. Well, the shamanic drumming sound have shown me visually, you can see when we have a thought form, when we think of an elephant, it sees or I sees the elephant forming around you. This is why we say our minds are powerful. We create through our minds. With your thought forms is a form. Maybe you might not see it right away, but the journey will let you see everything that you have emotionally have been believing at that moment, in the present moment, or even the past couple of days or weeks that led up to the journey, that it will comes out in form. So the drumming is to move the we call it enlightened beings, Tibetan monks who have practiced achieving enlightenment, is the rainbow body, cultivating compassion, cultivating love, cultivating speech, positive speech. Now, I won't say I have those qualities, but in my soul, what I've led up in the journeys, those are coming to move, helping people to release those energetic blueprints, the blockage that is blocking ourselves and based on our belief system. So that is what I describe shamanic journey in drumming. And being together with Stephanie, we have done some of these journeys together with her, a guided sound bath along the drum. I would tell you when she does the guided, when she does the singing bowl, even me drumming, I'm tuning to meditation is nothing but light. I'm not describing the lights that we linear always think about what light is, what the sun is. Light is pure form. That is, your heart is completely open. You in the stillness of meditation that everybody wants to drop to, that was meditations. So you don't have to work hard very much with it. The only thing you work hard when I approach people with how to integrate, that is your work, integrations. The rest, we guide you while you guide yourself to it. But when we integrate, that's when you begin doing your work. So that's how I describe the shamanic and sound healing.
Whew, that's beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah.
So we are actually coming close to time, and I just want to hear both any thoughts, closure for Circle of Lights, anything you want to share?
Sure. Yeah. We would love for you to join us. The event is at the Manitou Art Center on June 25th, which is a Sunday. And it is early, early, early. We are opening the doors at 7:30 a.m. for people to check in. And at 7:45 is when we begin and the doors close. And we will go until 2:15 or until we finish. 2:15 is our planned end time. And so we'll start with a meditation in the morning with Holly, and then we'll move into shamanic drumming, the sound bath, a little bit of movement, a little bit of snacks, have some snacks, restore. And then we'll go into, which I am so excited about, the mindfulness mandala creation with Holly. And then at the very end, we'll all kind of join and group together and connect before everybody heads out for their day. We'll make sure everybody's alert and ready to go. And like I said, we've got some really beautiful surprises that we're not talking about today because we want you to just feel how much love we've poured into this event with these little surprises we've got woven through. So I hope you can join. If you're wanting to register, you can find us at any of our, whether it's Instagram or Facebook sites. You can also go to the Manitou Art Center of Manitou Springs and go to their website, click on their calendar, scroll down the calendar till you see the 25th of June, click our event and register. And if you're a Manitou Art Center member, you have a special discounted rate. And we would just love for you to be there. So I'll give it back to you, Choying. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing all that information. And
absolutely,
when you listen to this, there will be links for you to actually register.
Perfect.
So you don't have to actually figure out what it is.
So you don't have to listen to me talking about where it is.
No, we want to listen to you, Steffany. How about you, Holly? What is your final thoughts?
My final thoughts are I'm really excited about this. Since we first visited Manitou and came to this magical place, I'll just throw in kind of how we met Steffany. And that was probably, was it going on 2 years now, Steffany, ago? I reached out to Steffany just to say, hey, we're looking at, connecting with other people. And it was about a year later we finally connected. And so after we connected and we had these discussions, we immediately all kind of clicked and had the same mindset and spaces that we wanted to create for people. And I just wanted to say thank you to Steffany. Steffany is a longtime resident of Manitou, so she was kind enough to open up her space and her connections and her heart to us, and allowing this to happen at the Manitou Art Center. So we also want to thank the Manitou Art Center, which is another magical place. So thank you, Steffany, and thank you to everybody at the Manitou Art Center. And I really look forward to connecting with more people and seeing more people grow and flourish and be empowered. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Holly.
No, thank you, Holly, for that. Thank you, Steffany. I also want to say none of this would happen without Steffany.
Yep.
I learned so much.
Holly.
I learned so much from her and also from Holly. And one of this thing is, I have a thought right now, but I just want to keep it into when we in the space together, because it's the most powerful space. And when I say powerful, I'm not talking about just very generic. I'm talking about the ability to become a superhero in your own mind, emotion, and soul. So that's something that I can actually testify with it. But none of this would happen without, of course, the MAC Center, the Art Center, Steffany again. With that, this is...
One more shout out.
Go ahead.
I just want to give one more shout out to Maria and Alan at the Manitou Art Center, as well as the beloved and loved Natalie Johnson. Maria and Alan are also beloved. And I especially want to thank Katie Orr for opening up the Hagenauer Gallery with her beautiful artwork in it. It is gorgeous. I can't wait for you to see her work. It's so powerful.
Yeah,
And just
I'm
a
so
big shout
excited.
out to Katie. So, okay, now I'm
That is
zipping it.
beautiful. No, thank you.
Awesome.
That's
Yeah, thank
beautiful. Thanks for the
you.
shout out.
Yeah,
All right, so no final words. We're gonna play.
those were our final
We're gonna
words.
play some little music and hope to see you all there.